In a desolate, snow-draped wilderness, a jagged scar split the earth, a vast, unfathomable gorge shrouded in fog and secrecy. Levi Kane, a former U.S. Marine Scout sniper with a chiseled jaw and haunted eyes, arrived at the Western Watchtower under orders from a shadowy private contractor called Dark Lake. His mission: guard the gorge for a year, alone, with no contact beyond his rifle and the endless horizon. Across the chasm, in an identical tower on the eastern side, stood Dresa, a Lithuanian covert operative with a razor-sharp mind and a past tangled in Kremlin intrigue. Neither knew the other existed, nor what lurked below. Their only instruction: shoot anything that climbed out. Levi's first weeks were a grind of monotony and nightmares. The screams of enemies he'd killed in distant wars echoed in his sleep, a relentless reminder of the blood on his hands. Dresa, meanwhile, wrestled with her own ghosts. Her father, Ericus, was dying of cancer back home, planning to end his life on Valentine's Day to join her late mother. She'd taken this job to vanish, to escape the guilt of leaving him. The gorge was their exile, their purgatory. 6 months in, something shifted. One crisp September night, Levi heard faint music, punk rock, of all things, blasting across the abyss. Through his sniper scope, he spotted Dresa dancing wildly on her tower's platform, a bottle in hand, celebrating her birthday alone. She caught his gaze, grinned, and scrawled a message on a board. Care to join? Levi hesitated, then fired a cable across the gorge with a zipline rig he'd rigged up in boredom. He slid over, boots crunching on her icy deck, and found her laughing, a sound that cut through his isolation like a blade. They didn't speak much that night. Language barriers and guarded hearts kept words sparse. Instead, they shared rabbit pie she'd cooked, played chess with makeshift pieces, a nod to her cunning, and banged on metal drums, a tribute to his restless energy. Levi, an amateur poet, scribbled lines for her. She collapsed the night, a star in free fall. Dresa read it, smirked, and tucked it away. By dawn, he ziplined back, the cable taut under a pink sky. But the gorge wouldn't let their moment linger. As Levi crossed, a cluster of mines on the western cliff detonated. Dark, humanoid shapes, the Hollow Men, scrambled up the rock face, their limbs twisted and eyeless faces gaping. The cable snapped, and Levi plummeted, parachute deploying just in time to slow his descent into the fog. Dresa didn't hesitate. She grabbed her gear, leapt after him, and parachuted into the unknown. The gorge's depths were a nightmare made flesh. Trees bent like spines, their leaves pulsing with veins. Insects skittered with human-like fingers. The air stank of chemicals, thick and yellow. Levi hit the ground hard, leg twisted, and Dresa landed beside him, rifle raised. The Hollow Men attacked, former guards, soldiers, and scientists, mutated by decades of exposure to something vile. Their uniforms, tattered relics of World War II, clung to their decayed forms. Levi and Dresa fought back to back, bullets tearing through the creatures, but more kept coming. Stumbling through the haze, they found the source, a crumbling bioweapons lab, its walls cracked from an ancient earthquake. Inside, faded logs revealed the truth. Nazis had engineered a mutagen here, a toxin that fused flesh with nature, creating abominations. The lab had been abandoned when the gorge swallowed it, but the contaminant lingered, spreading. 5 days of exposure meant mutation. Levi and Dresa had to get out. They scavenged a rusted jeep, its towing cable still intact. As Hollow Men on horseback, grotesque centaurs of bone and vine, charged, they hooked the cable to a cliff ledge and gunned the engine. The jeep climbed, tires screaming, while they fired at the horde below. At the top, breathless, they agreed. 5 days apart to check for infection, then a plan to end this. Levi reported to his handler, Bartholomew, a cold woman with Sigourney Weaver's gravitas. She admitted Dark Lake knew the gorge was compromised, but saw it as a testing ground. Dresa's Kremlin contacts confirmed the same. Both sides wanted the mutagen contained, not destroyed. But containment had failed. The Hollow Men were evolving, climbing faster. Dark Lake would kill them to keep the secret. Reunited after 5 days, uninfected, Levi and Dresa hatched a desperate plan, the Stray Dog Protocol. The gorge was cloaked from satellite view by tech hidden in the towers. Destroy the cloakers, expose the site, and trigger a failsafe, an airstrike to obliterate it. They'd have minutes to escape the blast radius. Bartholomew arrived with a strike team, drones buzzing like wasps. Levi and Dresa split up, dodging gunfire. At 3.9 kilometers from the gorge, they took their shots, Levi from the west, Dresa from the east. The cloakers exploded, the sky cleared, and the gorge lay bare. A countdown began. Nuclear annihilation was coming. They ran, Levi limping, Dresa pulling ahead. At 4.2 kilometers, the safe line, Dresa turned. Levi wasn't there. Flames erupted behind her as he dove into a river, the blast wave roaring. 5 days later, Dresa worked a diner in some nowhere town. Her hair dyed brown, her eyes scanning every face. A man slid into her booth. Levi, battered but alive, his leg in a brace. "Sorry I'm late," he said, grinning. "Had to swim." She punched his shoulder, then kissed him, her laugh breaking the silence. The gorge was gone, its secrets ash. They'd beaten hell together.